14 shocking facts about the student loan debt bubble and the great college education scam, Michael Snyder reports. More than 18 million students are enrolled at over 5,800 colleges and universities in the United States. On average, it costs more than $100,000 to attend a college or university in the United States for 4 years. It's been estimated that a college education is now over 400% more expensive than it was 40 years ago. But even though our institutions of higher learning are sucking so much money out of our young people, it never seems to be enough. And so they are constantly begging for more money from the federal government. If you can believe it, the US government has been providing more than $170 billion a year to post-secondary education programs. Much of this funding comes in the form of research grants, student aid, and government contracts. But what are we getting for all this money? The truth is that we're getting an entire generation that has had their heads filled with leftist propaganda. We tell our kids over and over again that a higher education is the key to getting a good job and living the American dream. They've been told not to worry about how much it costs and that there's plenty of financial aid, mostly made up of loans available. Now our economy is facing the biggest student loan debt bubble in the history of the world, and when our new college graduates enter the real world, they're finding out that the good jobs they were promised are very few and far between. The system relies on the fact that most of us are going to believe that a college education is the key to a good future and that there's plenty of financial aid out there for everyone that wants to go to college. Unfortunately, high school students are never told that not even bankruptcy can get you out of student loan debt. It will stay with you forever until you finally pay it off. Today, each new crop of optimistic college graduates quickly discovers that there are simply not enough, nearly enough jobs for all of them. Thousands upon thousands of them end up waiting tables or stocking the shelves at retail stores. Many of them end up deeply bitter as they find themselves barely able to survive and yet saddled with tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt that nobody ever warned them about. Sadly, the quality of the education that most of these college students is receiving is a complete and total joke. Take it from someone who has graduated from a college of very highly respected institutions. I have an undergraduate degree, a law degree, another degree on top of that, so I know what I'm talking about. Higher education in America, he says, has become so dumbed down that the family dog could literally pass most college courses. It's an absolute joke. The vast majority of college students in America spend 2 to 4 hours a day in the classroom and maybe an hour or two outside the classroom studying. The remainder of the time, these students, quote unquote, are out drinking beer, partying, chasing after sex partners, going to sporting events, playing video games, hanging out with friends, chatting on Facebook, or getting into trouble. It's been said that college is the most fun and that most people will ever have in their entire lives, and that is no exaggeration. It's basically one huge party. Of the little education that actually goes on, much of it is so saturated with leftist propaganda that it makes the whole process virtually worthless. Most parents would be absolutely shocked if they could actually see the kind of indoctrination that goes on inside U.S. college classrooms today. A college education can be worth it for those in fields that are highly technical or highly specialized, but for nearly everyone else, it's just one giant money-making scam. Oh, but you parents, please keep breaking your backs to put money into the college funds for your children so that they can be spoon-fed leftist propaganda all day, like wild animals, all night for 4 years. It really is a huge scam. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. But if you will not believe me, perhaps you'll believe some cold, hard statistics. The following are 14 shocking facts about the student loan debt bubble and the great college education scam. Number 1 out of every 4 Americans under the age of 40 has outstanding student loan debt. 2, Americans now owe $1.773 trillion on their student loans, which is more than the total amount that Americans owe on their credit cards. Number 3, the average federal student loan debt balance has now risen to $38,375. 4.86% of all federal student loan dollars are in default as of the fourth quarter of 2024. Number 5, a typical high school student spends about 30 hours in the classroom each week, but a typical college student spends between 12 and 16 hours in the classroom each week. 6, one study found that 35% of U.S. college students spend 5 hours or less studying outside the classroom each week. Number 7, that same study found that 50% of U.S. college students have never taken a class that requires them to write more than 20 pages, and 32% of U.S. college students have never taken a class that requires them to read more than 40 pages in 1 week. Number 8, only 49% of full-time college students receive a bachelor's degree within 4 years. Number 9, in May 2024, the unemployment rate for bachelor's degree recipients between the ages of 20 and 29 was over 12%. Number 10, the median starting salary for a college graduate is approximately $52,000 a year. 11, the average starting salary for an electrician is approximately $54,000 a year. 12, today a whopping 42.7 million Americans have outstanding student loan debt. 13, just 29% of all young college graduates in the U.S. that have outstanding student loans say that they are living comfortably. 14, nearly a third of all college students end up moving back home with their parents once their educations have been completed. A third. What in the world has happened to our system of higher education? At this stage, it's a complete and utter disaster. Much of the real learning that is taking place on college campuses actually occurs in graduate programs. Sadly, many of these graduate programs are now dominated by foreigners. In fact, it's been estimated that about half of all the graduate assigned students enrolled at colleges and universities in the United States are now foreigners. Something is very, very wrong. But should we be surprised that the quality of education at our colleges and universities has gone down so much when the quality of education at every level leading up to college has also been declining? In some areas of the country, large numbers of students that can barely read are being allowed to graduate from high school. A population that does not read is much easier for the elite to control. According to a survey that was conducted in 2023, 43% of Americans had not even read a single book within the past year. If you want to be an educated person, get in the habit of reading books. If you don't know where to get started, I would recommend checking out my latest offering, he said. Our society spends more on education than any other society in the history of the world has, but our population is certainly not getting any smarter. Our system of higher education is all about making as much money as possible, and countless lives are being wrecked in this process. This is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. This is by Michael Snyder, and about the author. Michael Snyder's new book entitled Why is available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books that are available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and he's always freely and happily allowed others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.